Hi, this is Eric Prystowsky with EP on EP. I'm thrilled today to have a friend for many years, also a wonderful electrophysiologist, Dr. John Kalman from Melbourne, Australia. But the real reason, John, I wanted you here today is because your new position as president of the Asian Pacific Heart Rhythm Society. Times are tight around the world. Money's tight. Industry's changing how it's affecting things. Why don't you tell us what's going on in your organization and what do you think are the challenges and where you're headed?
Great, thanks very much, Eric, and thanks for having me on the interview. Yeah, APHRS is now around about 10 years old, so it's a pretty young society, and over that 10 years we've, I think, come ahead in leaps and bounds. Our annual scientific meeting, which is held generally early October, has really evolved in terms of the numbers and the science and the interest and the support that we've received from other organisations, Heart Rhythm Society in particular, and also the European Heart Rhythm Association, has been really wonderful for a new society. I think it's a really important initiative because in our area of the world, we have this disparate group of really powerhouse countries, Japan and China and Korea and Taiwan and India, to name just a few. So there's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of great science going on and coming up. But by the same token, it's tough to pull everybody together into a single organization. The myriad languages and getting everyone sort of up to speed on English and feeling that this really is their organization and their organization to represent them internationally. So that I think has been a big challenge. The other challenge is those countries, if you think of Japan and Korea and Taiwan and China really coming up, but then you also think of the Philippines and Myanmar and Thailand and India, parts of India, where really the absence of good electrophysiology is striking. Indonesia is another one, and so one of the real challenges of the society, and one of the goals of the society, is to really improve the level of arrhythmia management in those countries where it's either rudimentary or in places entirely non-existent.
So let me ask you about that, because this is a challenge that I didn't even realize should have been a challenge in Europe, where there's been just a long history of excellent electrophysiology. But at one point when I was working with the United States I was on the chairman of the test committee for the country. We were working with that about who's a fellow. Okay, it's easy in the United States, it's codified. And I found out in Europe when they started looking at this, because they wanted to develop their own boards. They didn't have a good measure of who's a fellow. What constitutes an electrophysiology fellow. And now you're dealing with an incredibly more complex scenario. Is one of the missions, do you feel, of your organization to try to codify training a little more, to develop some kind of systematized examination? Have you guys dealt with that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Eric, and it's been something that's been a bit of a chestnut for us, and something that we're addressing because, how do you get everybody up to that level? How do you get everybody to a level that, would be viewed as an international level? And, we haven't put a formal fellowship program in place as yet, but it's certainly on the cards. But what we have been doing is we've got a number of initiatives to address this. And those initiatives include bringing fellows from those less advantaged countries into the more advantaged countries. So we're paired with Indonesia in particular. We've had now, we're a third fellow from Indonesia. We've trained the first electrophysiologist in Bali, massive population with no EP guys. Young Kim has been going to Mongolia to do cases and taking his whole team and
they let him back?
And they let him back as well. Yeah, that's right. Into Cambodia and so I think, in some of those countries, the level is so.
So in other words, versus bringing them maybe into a center like yours, a really high-level center, you're actually doing more of an outreach training.
We're doing both.
You're doing both.
We're doing both. We're bringing fellows in. We've got a program now where we're going to bring in a bunch of physicians from remote Chinese centers, and they're going to come for a week and watch cases, devices, ablation, and some lectures, and so we're doing that. We're having fellows come for 1 or 2 years, which I think sends them back really well trained. And then we're also going on this country matching program where a group of us from Australia are heading to Indonesia to do cases.
I think it's a great initiative you're doing that. I had the honor a year ago with Tio in Singapore, his annual course. He had me there, and there were people, I thought it was mostly be from Singapore. It turned out there were like, I don't know, 7, 8 countries were represented, and they were hungry for knowledge. So what you're doing is going to dramatically improve, I think, the care. You should be congratulated for it. One last thing, when's your meeting coming up? When's the 2018 meeting and where?
2018 meeting is in Taipei, run by Xian Chen and TJ Wu, and this is going to be in early October, and we're very excited about the meeting. It's the 3rd time back to Taipei. It's been wonderful every time, and
I've been both times, and I'm looking forward to coming again.
Great. Thanks so much, Eric.
Well, John, thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Take care.